What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfella back with the boxing clinic. Shout out to the LDBC one time for the one time. Shout out to Boxing Ego, man. That man just be working. Work. Rihanna voice, I would guess. And Paulie Malignaggi is back on the offensive again on Manny Pacquiao. For many years, if you haven't followed Paulie Malignaggi even before he became a Showtime commentator, he's always been a guy to speak his mind. I mean, remember he lost to Broner. He started talking about the politics about Broner and Al Heyman. You know, he's been a very vocal person. And usually in boxing, when you go at the wrong guy, you tend to get a backlash, and especially the people's champion like Manny Pacquiao. I heard people say Pacquiao is this great, perfect guy, which is not true. He's admitted to being a womanizer and having faults in his own life like everybody else. But neither here or there. Paulie Malignaggi, shout out to Boxing Ego for doing the investigation and digging deep. Follow him on YouTube. You got a website and on Instagram as well. This has been on saying that Pacquiao was on that shit before, on the PEDs. I've been one of those guys that, it piqued my suspicion. I have never talked about it on here personally, and I'm not going to get into that, Point blank period, I thought Pacquiao won the fight. I didn't score. I got to go back and score. Hopefully I can get to it tonight. Basically he's back on the offensive talking about this shit again. And, one of the Twitter guys asked him why I didn't, or he told one of the Twitter guys why, Pacquiao didn't, sue him for slander like he did the Mayweathers and all that shit. And he said basically that they know I know too much and I could expose him. And he says basically, the truth is going to eventually come out and, down the line that he's been able to get away with failing drug tests before. And, anybody that jumps 8 weight classes at the rapid pace that Manny Pacquiao did and still was knocking guys out, and all of a sudden the knockouts start coming right around, getting ready for the Mayweather fight. Because, pretty much, go back to the timeline, pretty much he said that he was afraid of needles. Is one of the reasons why he didn't take the drug test versus Floyd Mayweather early. And a lot of people got on Floyd Mayweather for pulling the drug testing out of his ass out of the blue, the random drug testing for the Pacquiao fight. More people got on Mayweather for saying that for bringing out the USADA drug testing shit for the Pacquiao fight. Most people say if you think you're the best, why you just can't beat him? No, not a lot of people or Pacquiao supporters really question why Pacquiao didn't want to take that drug test. And that's what Paulie Malignaggi was getting at. It got to a point where Pacquiao said he was scared of needles. He didn't like being, he didn't like his blood being taken 2 weeks before the fight. It made him weaker. And obviously he had tattoos at the time. And obviously, people were speculating that 2 weeks before the fight, it was he can clear the PEDs out of the system, or he can get PEDs back in the system, before that and get them out before the post-fight drug test. They were saying all types of crazy shit. And, Paulie has been on record saying, you can just go find a video, I have to put it in the description, that, right after David Diaz, he fought David Diaz with that lightweight or somewhere around there, he said that Pacquiao, the juice became loose. He turned into a epically freakish, big, ripped monster. And also said that PEDs can help your punch resistance and help your work rate and help your stamina and increase power and all this type of shit that basically most of us already know. If you honestly, line it up, it kind of lines up what Paulie Malignaggi is saying. He said that one of the reasons he knew Mayweather was going to beat Manny Pacquiao was because Pacquiao had to take random drug testing and got popped. Not got popped, I apologize. He said, he knew Pacquiao had to take the random drug test, and he said that was one of the reasons why he leaned heavily towards Mayweather, and he knew Mayweather was going to defeat Pacquiao because he couldn't have the juice in his system. So, and he's been like this for the last 10 years. On this Pacquiao thing, he's a guy that's trained at the Wild Card Gym before, worked out there. Remember him telling Broner, and I remember him saying Broner asked him how does he fight 12 rounds mentally and physically, and he was like, that was at the Wild Card Gym. So, obviously him and Freddie Roach has some, history. You know, previously I've talked about this with James Toney being busted out of that gym for PEDs, one of my favorite fighters of all time, and Pacquiao. A lot of people don't want to believe it because Pacquiao is such a nice guy, but you know, it's definitely not out the realm of possibility. Anybody, you know, we've seen a lot of people, you know, over the years shocked that a lot of guys been busted, like Povetkin, you know, Lamont Peterson, Andre Berto. You go fucking name a lot of people. And one of the fans actually told Paulie Malignaggi, what about, you know, Floyd Mayweather using masking agents to mask PEDs, and talking about the IV, and IVs doesn't flush, you know, PEDs out your system. And he said they both passed the test. He said there's no fucking debate, you know, both passed the random drug test. So, you know, there's a lot of people, you know, they want to throw the shit back on Floyd Mayweather for some reason. He started this random drug testing shit. Some of his guys got popped for PEDs. Evian Love got popped for a weight cutting diuretic. So he has some friendly fire as well, but at the end of the day, it is what you want to believe. You want to believe Paulie, you want to believe Manny Pacquiao was clean. It is what it is, man. It's not my personal views. This is Paulie Malignaggi, but we gone.